Good morning, Valley. Today on Valley por Vida, we're talking about the National Month Calendar. We're also learning about Rio Grande Valley Vultures, and we're bringing you a non-profit fine arts program that is affordable and fun for the whole family. There's so much going on, so don't go anywhere. Valley por Vida starts right now. Hi there, and thanks again for joining us this morning. I'm your host, Danielle Banda. Well, one Rio Grande Valley author lost his sister and brother to diabetes, and now he's fighting to help educate our local children and our families on the perils of obesity and the importance of exercise. So he created an interactive children's book to help spread his message. Here's today's Generation Inspiration.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David Nork, and I'm here to tell you about the only interactive children's book around called The Adventures of Exo and Psy. Now, this book is a really interesting book because you actually get an exercise workout as you read the book, so it's very interactive. This book started after I lost my brother and sister to diabetes, and I was driving around and I got inspired to write this book called The Adventures of Exo and Psy, a play on the word exercise. The Exo and Psy, they live in a town called Obesity, and where the mayor is Diabetes or Diabetes. And in this first book, she's sending out her henchmen, Chip and Nacho, who represent potato chips, to steal everybody's healthy snacks. But that is until Exo and Psy have something to say about it. And the adventure begins, and we start doing all these wonderful exercises and try to stop Chip and Nacho from stealing everyone's healthy snacks. So this book is a wonderful opportunity for families to get together, not only read, which is very important, literacy is very important, but also exercise, which again is also very important. So you're working the mind and you're working the body. As you read, there's going to be different exercises. So you're going to have to get up, move around, jump around, run around. And then, you know, with COVID and everything, the importance of being healthy and eating right and exercise, it's so important right now. And along with this book, there's a second book coming out called The Adventures of Arrow, which is a little girl, and her cat, Bix. So it's the adventures of Arrow and Bix, or aerobics. And this is going to be the first book in a 7-book series where we're going to follow Exo and Psy and Arrow and Bix in their adventures in obesity until they finally get to stop Mayor Diabetes from ruining and making obesity into the unhealthiest place around. Now, this also incorporates something that I call FitLit, a combination of fitness and literature. And hopefully we can get these books onto your local parks where families can go around, they read the book and they do the exercises together. You're spending quality time with the family, you're exercising, you're reading, you're working your body, you're working your mind, and you're having a great time. So you can pick up this book at davidnorek.com. That's DAVIDNOREC.com. There are a multitude of free material there in fact, you can get the free ebook on that website. If you want a physical copy, you can order it as well. And we can work together to change things around, to change the culture of the Rio Grande Valley especially. This is an awesome way, a fun way just to be together as a family, and I look forward to putting more books forward for you guys, and I hope we have an awesome time spending time together, reading, exercising, and having a great time. So RGV, are you ready to exercise?
David currently visits RGV schools and groups to promote a healthier lifestyle, along with interactive exercise and literature sessions with local children and families. And you can visit davidnorek.com if you'd like more information. Well, it's time now to dive deep into the heart of our great state with stories from Texas. Some of them are true. RGV professor, a radio commentator for Texas Standard, and author W.F. Strong takes us on an adventure in praise of Rio Grande Valley vultures.
I go for walks in the country often this time of year here in the Rio Grande Valley. This is our Goldilocks season, not too hot, not too cold, just right. We have a perfectly warming sun and the crisp, cool air of winter mornings. I like to walk along a dirt road that has freshly plowed farmland on one side and a deep mott of mesquite and huisache trees on the other. A committee of vultures watches me from atop the tallest of these trees, far away from civilization. That's the official name for a group of vultures, a committee. Sometimes they are also called a venue of vultures. I like that. Based on what I've seen of committees and their venues, I can see the salience of the metaphor. In Texas, these birds are often mistakenly called buzzards. This is common, but it is technically wrong because buzzards are a completely different bird. We don't have buzzards in Texas, though I will admit to calling them that myself growing up. I don't recall referring to groups of birds by their correct labels either, such as murder of crows or covey of quail or flamboyance of flamingos. I still don't. I tend more toward my brother Redneck Dave's lexicon, which is pretty much reduced to the word bunch. He says, you got a bunch of ducks in your yard. And if there's more than that, he says, you got a whole bunch of ducks in your yard. More still are covered by, you got a mighty big bunch of ducks in your yard. Back to the vultures. This committee of vultures, turkey vultures in this case, are perched high up in the trees, like undertakers, eyeing me, sometimes stretching out their wings to display their impressive 6-foot span. But mostly I'm a curiosity, not a disturbance. They don't fly away. I'm sure I would be much more interesting to them if I were dead. Turkey vultures don't have a lot of fans. Many people see them as disgusting birds that eat disgusting things. They have red heads, they're mostly bald, with faces that only a mother could love, a mother vulture, that is. On the ground, picking through roadkill, they look ungraceful and ragged and ungainly. But in the air, they are, to me, transformed into graceful, heart-stirring masters of the wind. On the ground they are called committees, but in the air they are called kettles of vultures, because in their swirling ride upward on the thermals, they look like bubbles rising in heated water. It is by riding high on the thermals that they hunt for carrion, dead things. They don't do it by sight, they do it by smell. The smell of the decaying animals is carried up by the thermals, and the birds track that smell to the source. Tests have shown that they always arrive on the upwind side of the corpus delicti, and that's how experts know that smell is dominant. Yes, the process to us is gross, but if you consider the scientific name for the turkey vulture, Cathartes aura, they sound noble. It means cleansing breeze. They swoop in on the wind and clean the earth. And they are disinfectors too, consuming anthrax and cholera bacteria and safely removing it. In this case, they are hazmat teams. But my admiration for these magnificent creatures is fully realized watching them in flight. I can sit in my backyard and watch hundreds of them ride up high in the sky like an avian tornado. They're having fun up there. They're not all about carrion, I'm convinced. They're windsurfers, fully elated by the vulture sport they collectively love. The winds do not conquer them. They ride them high into the vaulted blue, cloudless skies. Some, pilots tell us, go as high as 20,000 feet. And they rarely have to flap their wings, they just soar and glide at one with the wind. You can find them all across Texas, along with their slightly smaller cousins, the black vultures, which prefer the eastern part of the state. Together, they are our cleaners, our sanitizers, the avian last line of defense for our most famous slogan, "Don't mess with Texas." I'm W. Strong. These are stories from Texas. Some of them are true.
All right, well, it's time now to take a commercial break, and then we've got to look at your local weather updates. But stay tuned because Valley por Vida will be back, and we'll be talking about all things fine arts, how one nonprofit organization in Brownsville is helping students and families get creative. Those details and more coming up.